Dear guests in Białystok, dear listeners and participants online, welcome to Białystok University of Technology, to Ryszard Kapuściński Development Lecture Series with our main speaker, Professor Dr. Karine Sargsyan. I would firstly like to ask our Vice Rector for Development, Professor Mirosław Świercz, to take the floor and to welcome everyone on behalf of Białystok University of Technology.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome the researcher, Dr. Karine Sargsyan, who will be talking about the future of medicine and humanity, as well as Mr. Bartłomiej Balcerzyk, the Deputy Director of Polish Representation of European Commission, and Mr. Jan Szymański from United Nations Development Program. I can't see him, but anyway, I think that he will also say a few words. Thank you, the organizers of this meeting, and first of all, thanks to Dr. Sargsyan for her visit in Białystok and saying the speech of very interesting from the engineering and humanitarian point of view issues. I hope that after the speech there will be a discussion, and I kindly invite you to ask questions and take the opportunities from the visit of such a researcher. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rector. I would now like to request Bartłomiej Balcerzyk, Deputy Head of the European Commission representation in Poland, as a co-sponsor of this event, to welcome the participants.
Dzień dobry Państwu. Dear distinguished guests, dear students, dear professors. On behalf of European Commission, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this Kapuściński lecture, organized in close partnership with the United Nations Development Program and Białystok University of Technology. I would like to thank our hosts for the warm welcome and for making today's event possible. It is a particular honor to open today's lecture alongside UNDP. The strong collaboration between European Union and United Nations is rooted in our shared commitment to global development, to social progress, and human dignity. The Kapuściński lecture is a shining example of this partnership in action. Since their launch in 2009, these lectures, named after great Polish journalist and writer Ryszard Kapuściński, have brought critical global issues into university classrooms across Europe. They have featured over 150 events with thought leaders and Nobel Prize winners, and reached more than 40,000 participants. Through these events, we aim to inspire debate and reflection, especially among young people, on challenges such as climate change, such as inequality, human rights, and sustainable development goals. As Kapuściński himself once said, he wrote his books for people everywhere still young enough to be curious about the world. And the same curiosity brings us today together to reflect on topic that touches the core of what it means to be human in 21st century, the future of medicine and the convergence of biology, technology, and society. This topic holds also personal significance for me. I am a diabetic. I'm connected to this little device, which is an insulin pump. I have like a sensor on my body, which shows the blood, how much sugar in blood I have. So I am a direct beneficiary of technical and biomedical innovation. We came closer to the future where such diseases may be cured. Right now, they can be quite well managed. That's why I'm especially glad that this lecture is taking place also here in Poland, a country that has greatly benefited from its EU membership, including in areas of science, innovation, and development. Supporting research and new technologies will remain one of the European Commission's priorities for years ahead. Let me close by thanking Professor Karine Sargsyan for joining us today. We look forward to her insight and hope that this discussion will ignite our curiosity and your commitment to shaping a better future for us all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director. And now I would like Mr. Jan Szczyciński, the Program Manager of Ryszard Kapuściński Development Lectures from the United Nations Development Program, to take the floor. He is a true engine behind this whole business. So, Mr. Szczyciński, please.
Dzień dobry, thank you very much. It's great to be here. First time at the Białystok University of Technology. Thank you very much for hosting this event, and thank you very much, Professor, for accepting the invitation. And it's great to be here again with our friends from the European Commission, with whom we've been doing these lectures for now 16 years. These lectures aim at raising awareness about different global challenges and solutions as well. Sometimes challenging our conventional wisdom, and that we also have as large organizations like the European Commission and the UN Development Program. So we are also very happy to hear some critical thinking on this. Particularly, health is very central and important also for us at the United Nations, and I mean, for everyone, I guess, where health is really central to development. It's important to see development and progress in development not counted only by income, but also by education and health and other quality of life features, and health is very much important there. So we're particularly happy to be here on this very topic. We hope as well that it goes beyond maybe technology and data, which is increasingly more and more important in medicine and health, we see, but with the constant focus on people, of course, and their needs and possibilities, needs, aspirations, and so on. We'd like to also welcome the online audience who might also take part in the discussion part of the event. I very much encourage you to use we'll share the link to the Slido solution where you can post your comments and questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Szczeciński. We are all quite anxious to hear from our speaker today, but I will at least do partial justice to her incredible pedigree by quoting her achievements and her current professional obligations and occupations. Professor Dr. Karine Sargsyan is a doctor, scientist, an author, and a futurist. Her positions include scientific director of the Oncobank Shared Resources in Cedars-Sinai Cancer Center in California, USA, and the managing director of international biobanking at the Medical University of Graz in Austria. She's also the head of the Department of Digital Medicine and Artificial Intelligence in Yerevan State Medical University, Armenia. Professor Karine Sargsyan is a pioneer in high-end biobanking and data banking, as well as research infrastructures in biomedicine. She established Biobank Graz as a global model for sustainability and innovation, powering groundbreaking biomedical research and precision medicine advancements. She was also the president of the European Society for Biobanking in African societies as well. She's a foresight visionary, a digital health pioneer, and a global science diplomacy and innovation thought leader. She has spoken in many prestigious venues, including Davos, TEDx conferences, United Nations. As editor-in-chief of Future Intelligence, The World in 2050, she was a leader in thought of science diplomacy, digital transformation, and artificial intelligence in medicine. Her motto is, "I am not thinking out of the box because the box does not exist." So with this short introduction, I would like to warmly welcome Professor Karine Sargsyan at our stage, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Merci. Well, I put it this shawl because it is green, and I wanted to show my thankfulness to the Białystok Polytechnicum because green is your color, but it's hot, I'm putting it out, but my sympathy is still here, okay? After such a nice representation of myself, I am a little bit under pressure because it is difficult, you know, if you put the expectations so high, you need to come up with something great. So even if I do not good, just smile with me, please. Well, we're going to speak about future, and why to speak about future, why to care? Because, I mean, when I'm speaking and you already hearing that, is already past. And future is coming if we want or not. And better to prepare, better to do something good, that future comes as good as possible. And better to remember bad past to not to repeat it. Today, unfortunately, for me, is a very emotional day because it is 10th day of remembrance of the Armenian genocide, where in Ottoman Turkey, over 1.5 million Armenians were killed. So being ethnically Armenian, I couldn't pass this day and not mention it. But I hope that the whole humanity learns from these kind of things and never repeats. Well, I asked ChatGPT how you see the future of medicine. After several times of asking, it gave me only this kind of pictures. So ChatGPT sees herself or himself, it is very difficult to say, in the humans, in the futuristic blue color, and no real faces. So the future of medicine and future of healthcare should have a human face, on my opinion, and not this kind of face. Nevertheless, we would need all of these that ChatGPT is giving, because, I mean, I tried to have a cool picture. It wasn't working like I wanted. Then I thought, well, we have spoken about already about the past. Why to look into the past? What happened in the past of people that were thinking about the future? And Lord Kelvin was the president of the Royal Society of Medicine 1890 to 1895. And he was a very realistic man. He was one of the most educated people of his time in Europe, but he couldn't see behind the border, behind of his own horizon. So he said that radio is no future, has no future, heavier than air flying machines are impossible, and X-ray will prove to be a hoax. Well, I'm very happy that he was wrong, because otherwise I couldn't come and attend this lecture and give you a lecture. And I'm very happy that I'm able to show this to prove that independently how much knowledge you have, having fantasy is important. And trying to jump over the knowledge barrier to create new knowledge is also very important. So if you're trying to build a future, you need to try to build the future based on your knowledge, but having also a vision. And these guys, these are two independent things that have been done in Germany. One is by Carl Fischer, the other one is Herbert Hull, that they have investigated. This was in 1965, this was 1981, and these are published papers, Googleable, you can find it. So they investigated in the specific areas. One is the whole Germany, the other one is Baden-Württemberg region of the Germany. They investigated the number of storks, you know, the bird stork that brings babies, and the number of babies, and they correlated it, and it correlated perfectly. So they concluded storks bring babies. So my question is, does stork bring babies? What they missed was not perfect mathematics or statistics that they have had, not the methods that they were used to count the babies and count the storks, but the idea what is happening truly. That means they have forgotten the Industrial Revolution, the pollution because the several factories were coming out there like mushrooms and were polluting the air, and storks would go to the rural area where the women still would not work and bear more children. So they calculated without understanding of the reality. What I want to inspire with this lecture is thinking of what matters and thinking not of the numbers. Well, I mean, we are in the technical university. If there are no geeks, so I'm the only one. But who knows who these guys are? Well, I know there are two kinds of geeks, Star Trek and Star Wars. I'm a Star Trek guy. Nevertheless, in 1953, they have had automatically opening and closing doors. They have had video conferencing. They have had mobile telephones. They have had so many things that we have now that were, that time, science fiction. What we don't have is the warp motor, the teleporting, and the scanner of Dr. McCoy that he can do it in 5 minutes and diagnose. I'll show you, we are very near to have that. Nevertheless, we are still working on others. I'm not sure if we will have the teleporting, but I think that if technical universities really work with medical universities, we will be able to do that. We just need to communicate. I know we speak different languages. I know it is heavy, but it is possible. There is another example of the foresight. Well, everybody knows Nostradamus. And he predicted several things, although if you read him in Latin, you understand that we interpret several things as we want. Like with the storks and babies, in case of Nostradamus. But in case of Simpsons, I mean, they predicted Richard Branson will be in the space. They predicted Trump gonna be a president and exactly the position of Lady Gaga on the stage. How they did that? Well, the producer of Simpsons is Yelena Gerdekian, who is a very good acquaintance of mine, and I asked her that question because we together were in the same podcast, giving different aspects of future, because she was speaking about the entertainment. And she told me, you know, the writers of Simpsons are Harvard, MIT, Caltech, UCLA, and so on, educated engineers, doctors, and so on, who decided to go to entertainment afterwards. And what they do, they are doing crowdsourcing of the ideas, how the reality can look like, and then we produce. So what they are doing is a scientific method of foresight sciences. And although it is done for entertainment, it is done rather good. The same thing we have done also, but this is one of the TED speeches that we have had. And I was actually, that was not my speech. I was only the moderator. Although I have had 3 TEDx talks, this is my beloved picture, because the title of the speech is more fitting to my ideas as my own ones, Stop Being Realistic. As much realistic as you are, as near you are to Lord Kelvin. And as far you are from Simpsons people who can predict how the future is going to look like. So a little bit fantasy, a little bit of dreaming is always important. And what happened with the book we have done, this was an idea of World Economic Forum young leaders. They tried to crowdsource how the future, and in that case, 2050 gonna look like. And then I came into, and we managed, 3 of us, to make out of 101 interviews, like Dalmatinas, 101 interviews, we made a big portion of foresight sciences, putting together, crowdsourcing, calculating, and made that book happen, and calculated what's gonna happen in the future. Funny thing, while we were writing and predicting that there is gonna be a pandemic, that pandemic happened. We predicted, unfortunately, that a new war will be in Eastern Europe. Unfortunately. We predicted, fortunately, that the extreme rise of AI and machine learning will happen, that everybody will try to stop it, and several other geopolitical things. But people who were with us by writing were like Magnus Brunner from Austria, like Anna Netrebko, like Mauricio Bussi, who is the speaker of Justin Trudeau, or Serge Tankian. Who knows who is Serge Tankian? System of a Down, exactly, the frontman of System of a Down. So we have had a very wide range of people who were giving us their ideas, what they think the future is going to look like, and we calculated. And what we understood from this, that one person like Nostradamus is not enough to speak about future. Future belongs actually to next generation. We need to ask more young people, and we need to combine our efforts to build a better future. And with that, we have spoken in almost each chapter about artificial intelligence. And nowadays, we have these several examples of artificial intelligence and discrimination in healthcare. Artificial intelligence algorithms used in healthcare have bias. Artificial intelligence is a risk algorithm for healthcare. Is it true or not? I mean, we personalize artificial intelligence, but it is just an algorithm. It is a human mirror. If you look through the data that artificial intelligence is using to predict or to give an idea, especially with the insurance companies, it is learning from last 10, 15 years how humans were deciding and repeating the bias that humans we have. So blaming artificial intelligence as a risiko is very much like don't seeing the urbanization and saying that storks bring babies. It's about ourselves, and it's about the mirror of humanity, and about our actually biases that it is making much more concentrated and showing us. Well, there is another mirror that was much faster than artificial intelligence. TAI was Twitter's very first AI or machine learning model that they started to spark more discussion on Twitter. And they asked TAI, like in the script, learn from all the tweets that are there and use the most heated ones. And TAI learned. TAI learned 2016, and they needed to shut it down. You know why? TAI became racist. I don't gonna read it. Please read. It is a mirror of humankind. Which kind of tweets were heated? So the artificial intelligence learned how to make a noise and how to become an influencer in Twitter. Why I'm showing you that? Because it is pity how we react and how we do with our humanity. But it's not only that, it is even more stupid things. I mean, after we showed that, I think in 2016 or 17, or no, it was 18, the Amazon kicked this bias out. But, I mean, we are in the technical university. I hope men or women know what is a circular glass cutter. If you would try to buy a circular glass cutter on Amazon, Amazon is usually what it's doing. It is offering you, people are buying that with this and with this. And the next product that Amazon would offer was this. I hope I don't need to tell you for what Amazon would, people would use that, and how often and how stupid that is to buy it online. But these kind of things are now monitored by big concerns like Amazon to not let it go, or also by Google. Nevertheless, we cannot blame for that, for sure, artificial intelligence or machine learning. We can blame only ourselves as human beings. Well, this is the next hype where Angelina Jolie actually wrote a paper in New York Times about her own medical choice and about her own condition of over 80% probability of becoming breast cancer, and her choice of removing her both breasts. This became a hype. Everybody was discussing if it is good or bad. I understand the openly communication and the letter because, I mean, if she would not that communicate and it will be coming out by accident, that would be even worse. But there is something that I cannot understand. There came after some months these kind of papers like Angelina Jolie's breast cancer operation cost health system 14 million in unnecessary tests. There are no unnecessary predictive tests. The system in United States and also in Europe offering those tests at least once a year, if not twice in some countries, to every woman. Women were not using that. They started to use. And that's not extra. I mean, 14 million for the whole US is nothing. This is not the header that we should have had as human beings, but like Angelina Jolie's breast operation rose awareness, and so many women were saved and diagnosed early. Well, we are not doing that. We are concentrated on problems. What do you think, what is this? This is the next big problem of the humanity. Well, a finger, but what is on the finger? Microplastic, correct. This is a microplastic that, I mean, there are some people who are donating their body to the research. And this is a microplastic that is retrieved, seeable microplastic that is retrieved from a human body. We have 8 billion tons of plastic produced since 1950 approximately. And you know, we eat it. Less than 10% is recycled. So we eat about 5 grams of plastic a week. So if it is even not seeable, it is in our system. When we speak about foresight, I think those who are going to become a researcher, please think about how to fish out of our bodies that plastic that is actually causing so many diseases that we don't know yet. Well, we started to speak about different things, and we realized that digitalization is changing medicine, and we wrote another book with 49 different people from, I think, 18 countries of digitalization and of medicine and how it is changing the world. And we came up with very interesting ideas at UN General Assembly at Science Summit. And we spoke about how digitalization is changing the medicine. And I was so upset with questions that we got. We didn't got questions about like how many lives we can save by digital medicine, how we can do the predictions or prevention that people are not becoming patients. We got questions, how much does it cost? So we speak about big ideas of foresight science. Those big ideas are actually for dreamers. And I hope to inspire especially young people here to be dreamers. What we do at Cedars-Sinai, we are building molecular twins of people. This is something that may be interesting for those who are studying computational biomedicine or computational medicine, computational sciences in general. What we do, we build twins from humans in silico and doing some trials in silico before doing some trials on people. Well, specifically in oncology, we have very strict protocols, but these protocols are saying if you have this and this and this, you are going through this chemotherapy. If it does work, then you are going to the second shim. If it does not work, you are going to the third shim, if you are lucky. And if they are all not working, you can always be an experiment guinea pig and try to do something. What we are trying to do with this, we are trying to collect all the information of the patients we have from the metabolomic, multi-omic, from the longitudinal experimental design, all the information, pull together that if next patient is coming and has over 98% of coverage with another patient, so we know what worked in this case, so the next coming patient doesn't have to suffer as much as the first one suffered. We are trying to do our best, and we are working on it, and we are collecting the whole clinical and sensor data. Imagine the iWatches helped us. We collected so much information here. We have the digital pathology, we have the MRI data, we have the scan data, we have the whole genome sequences there. And what was added to that is actually the whole information that is in PubMed or published somewhere else. We are using that information, combining with our patient information, to enrich the digital twins, the molecular twins that we can work with. So there are in silico people that we are doing research on them. And imagine, although it costs money, it costs about hundreds, so 1% of a conventional research costs. Well, we have those reports, and I hope very much that tomorrow the care will be used like this so people will not suffer. Myself as a cancer survivor, and I'm gonna show you my story too, I think this could help so much. Well, what is very important also, that there are big differences between African American, Asian, and white people that we have seen. And if you are collecting, and Cedars-Sinai Medical Center is actually in the middle of Beverly Hills, you have a specific collective, and you need to collect the minorities to be sure that you are doing for everybody something good. I mean, I don't know how much minorities are in Białystok, but I'm sure they are, and we have genetically different status, and I myself am a huge mixture, and I'm not going into my genealogy now, but being honest, if we would not consider those differences, we would truly fail and think that the system is not working. So small things matter, specifically in medical foresight. This is a human kidney printed on the stage of a TED. Come on. So, Anthony Atala gave a lecture on TED and put it in a bioprinter and printed a human kidney. Well, the line of waiting for a kidney transplantation in United States is dependent on your immunity and on your blood type and so on, is between 2 years and 20 years. This thing was printed in 20 minutes. Well, is it working like a kidney? For a while, yes. Do we need to work on that incredibly much to make it really working organ? Yes. But what we are not doing, we think, oh my God, why he is doing? I'll try to repeat it in my lab. What we don't do, we don't collect our minds in the collective idea of doing things together and collecting like the engineers that can do more precise with the printing machine, the electrical engineers, because we need the nervous system of the kidney also, and it is an electrical engineering question more than a medical, and also the physicists because of the pressure differences and so on. Imagine if you would collect everybody and will be able to print that truly. We will be solving, I mean, well, I'm not sure we would be able to print some brains. Some people would need it. But nevertheless, I think that some of the parts of the body that we need, we would be able to print. What also happened that the one here is a cochlear implantat. It is not in cochlea, it is not in the ear, because people's ear are not working, but the listening nerve is still working. And what this thing is doing, they are connecting that to the skull, to the bone. And we all hear ourselves with the bone listening, not here. That's why if you hear yourself, if it is recorded, you don't recognize yourself in the first place. So this listening is used to give people who cannot listen possibility to hear and to communicate, which is a great innovation, but is not getting as big as should be. Another great innovation, by the way, it is from 2018, it is not new. So we are speaking about future, and I'm showing you the past that we are not using, what we already have. The second one is actually from Medical University grads from 2014. Professor Velika Parel had a possibility for those people who have the seeing nerve working, but the eye not working eyeball, a possibility to put a chip in. And these people could see contours. Well, they would not see colors, they would not see the distances, the deepness, but they would see shapes. And they were able to maneuver in labyrinths that we have had in our labs. So these possibilities are there, but what we are doing, we are building a brain enhancement chip to make some people more intelligent as they are. I think these kind of things are the future. Those that are making people's life better, and if we don't use the tools we have properly, it's not going to help. I mean, one of those tools would be enough to go over the wall, but we don't. So, how science going wrong? This is actually from 2016, and this is very new, 2023. These are the numbers of scientific papers that were retracted because they are not correct. So some people are very angry on politics and on the investments that we are not getting in the medicine. But being honest, not only in medicine in general, in every kind of science, but being honest, if we are doing so bad, why should we have investment? And the horrible thing about this is that the most trivial mistakes are making problem. Not the artificial intelligence, not the machine learning, not the ChatGPT. By the way, one of my last papers were clinical oncologist against ChatGPT. Which one is diagnosing better? So we have even those kind of papers. But you see, this is my flaw. I saw it in the last moment and decided to not put it away. I have a very deep dyslexia, and English is my 5th or 6th language. So I use all the time Grammarly to correct my mistakes, spell check and so on. So I'm very thankful that this artificial intelligence tool exists and helping me with my language. So we have so many problems with the retractions that may actually make our future much better. You know what are the biggest problems we have? Mislabeling of samples in the lab. It's the biggest mistake that is happening. And not only in the research, but also in the clinical care. You know, we have almost 800,000 deaths or worse disease stages only because of that. Can you imagine? And we have the technology to solve that problem, but we don't. The time between the blood draw and lab analysis, when the samples are staying there and nobody is touching them, like during first half an hour, the metabolome is changing. And because it is changing, the results are very different. And this is not about human mistakes because of the quality of their education. It is just not caring enough. So I'm not sure if artificial intelligence is our problem. I think more we are. And there are even more scary things. Who knows what that is? Yeah, it's very many known people. The company, it is also Googleable information, the company called Byte Labs generated a celebrity meat. So they generated from the cells of celebrities some sausages that you can buy and eat. I mean, that is a great technology that you could feed, if you would do that not with celebrity, but like with chicken, you could feed the whole Africa. You could use this technology to print those kidneys or skin for burned skin and replacing it. But we are using our knowledge for making celebrity meat to sell. And this company is actually making rather much money. So the future should be more thoughtful, in my opinion. And I Googled today in the morning just to be sure that the company is existing still. The company exists and they are doing medical training now. So I hope they changed, they understood. And what is also very difficult is the reality of multilateral policy making in science. So we have an innovation, like we have a new biomarker that can change the prediction and for a specific kind of cancer. Yeah? Till this thing is incorporated in programs of the countries and from there in the insurance, we have all these lines of bureaucracy, opinion, civil societies, lobbyists, some policy making, some agenda setting, who is gaining money for that, who is gaining the idea of that. You know how long is this cycle? Longer than 6 years. And there is another paper, I'm very much offering you to read that, where we have actually an idea. We have science and we have policy. And in science diplomacy, in the real world, it should work like science plus policy should be science policy. And the reality looks like, and this is very structured. So many small and big interests that we have. Very human, very egoistic, very driven. Well, we have a vision for 2050, and I hope that 2050 will be much better than we are living today. Oh my God, it's really hot. So, one thing is very important that, can you hear me? Okay, sorry. Technical difficulties. It's always a problem if you have some glasses on. We have it. So, it is, we think that the medicine in the future, from all 101 people, they think that the future of medicine gonna be predictive and preventive. So we will not cure the diseases, we will predict and prevent them. So the humans will not become patients. In the convergence of biotechnology and all the medical science that we have, we will be able to predict, prevent, gene edit, and do all the steps before people become patients. So the hospitals will be almost not needed, and the predictors will be on your waist like your watches. This is what we think, but we think also the human augmentation gonna take a big step. And in here we have, I mean, I have a pacemaker. I'm already one of the human augmented people, but I have also titanium here in my knee. So I'm very thankful for the research, because if those human augmentation experiments would be not there, I will not stand here and speak about that. But what we will not think about is the environment and the globe. So in the medicine, we are forgetting to think about the idea of the One Health, which is a part of actually Sustainable Development Goals. And One Health is health for humans and health for the whole planet, including the animals. And if we would be able to do that, we will have a great possibility to make a better future. Well, all people are asking those big questions. Is artificial intelligence going to take over of humans in the medicine and health, or it is not? And 2 months ago, I have been on Stanford stage giving a discussion together with David Yang, who is one of the pioneers of AI, and I said the word cobot, like co and bot, like a chatbot or cobot, and he got offended, and they are not cobots. That's a not nice thing to say. Say non-biological beings. It was so fun, and I told him, you know, David, I just said my co-panelist. Before that, I said my colleague about yourself, and you took it very easy. Why cobot is not nice? So we will have so many discussions yet, because David has at home, I think 4 or 5 AI dogs. He's living with them. So I think we will have those discussions rather big, and nanotechnus will happen. Homo nanotechnus will happen for sure. When and how it's going to happen, I think before 2050, because although we predicted it for 2050, everything is happening much faster. I hope this works. This is an interview with Slovenia's digitalization minister. She admitted something. Can we?
I admit I use artificial intelligence. I even use ChatGPT every day. And I tell people I'm preparing my speeches with artificial intelligence. But I'm using artificial intelligence only for the areas where I'm very confident. I will never use artificial intelligence for medicine or law because I don't have enough background. But for example, for digital transformation, for whatever comes to do with something, I have my background, I know that something is right or not, then artificial intelligence is amazing too.
So I specifically put it there to show that even meanwhile the diplomatic people are saying loud, we are using it, it is not bad to use, but it is also life-saving. By the way, this is my own brain, mine. So the technology saved my life together with the great surgeon, Professor Mokri, because I was diagnosed early. I was operated very precisely. During the operation, a complication occurred, and through to the technology, they were able to change the method and save my life. I woke up, and I couldn't speak any language out of Armenian. It happened so that Armenian is my mother tongue, and the mother tongue is always in the brain in a different space as all others. I was speaking about, I have so many mother tongues at once. That's not true. Armenian is my mother tongue. And I spoke Armenian, and I didn't know who I am, where I am, what is happening to me. I couldn't understand the language, the German that were spoken in Graz, but I knew that I have a daughter. I never forgot that I have a daughter. Well, I thought she's in the school and she is small, but she was studying in New York Institute of Technology, and she was already grown up, but I never forgot the human part of me being mama, and I think this is the part where the artificial intelligence can never interfere. And also in medicine. Well, a guy came and started to translate. I said that I have too much pain, I need some water and so on. He was very kind, and oh my God, he was so nice. I liked how he looked like, and I thought, oh my God, thank you very much, mister. And he almost broke. That was my husband. I didn't recognize him, and I fall in love again with the same guy. So there are some things that are happening in the medicine that we can maybe not explain. But these human parts, this care, this kindness, this love is the change that will bring the future, together with molecular fingerprinting, which is actually a predictive technology, as I spoke. You know, you see in the picture, this is Professor Katarina Kariko, the Nobel laureate for microRNA. This is me. This is Ferenc Krauss, the Nobel laureate for physics last year. This is Gerard Moreau 2 years ago, Nobel laureate. This is the Minister of Health of Hungary. You know what we are doing? We are testing 1 drop of plasma to be able to predict. And I'm gonna show you, because I'm not speaking as good as Ferenc is doing, so I'm gonna show you a video of his own part of a speech for Nobel.
Minuscule changes in the molecular composition of human blood, plasma, which is a sensitive indicator of health disease transitions. To sense these transitions, we propose, instead of searching for individual biomarkers, actually accessing the global molecular landscape via field-resolved spectroscopy. To this end, we expose human blood plasma, I should say, to a single-cycle infrared laser pulse, which coherently excites molecular vibrations within its spectral band. The vibrating molecules in turn radiate coherent infrared waves in the wake of the excitation. The resultant signal, which you see here, is characteristic of the molecular composition of the sample. We capture this electric field molecular fingerprint with highly sensitive attosecond metrology. This fingerprint signal is expected to change whenever emerging abnormalities change the sample's molecular composition, which we recently verified for several chronic conditions such as cancer, cardiovascular, and metabolic disorders. As a prominent example, we compared 470 samples of lung cancer patients with the same number of samples of reference individuals free from cancer, briefly controls, with the two cohorts being carefully matched regarding the distribution of the subject's age and other parameters. These are the electric field molecular fingerprints of all those samples. Clear differences come to light between the two cohorts some 1,000 femtoseconds after the excitation peak, where molecular emission starts dominating over the excitation. We can now quantitatively analyze these differences in terms of the gaps between.
So, what happened that the physicists and mechanical engineers used the knowledge of the medicine and medical doctors and can diagnose lung cancer before people have any of symptoms. So, Dr. McCoy, can you remember? I need 5 minutes to scan to know if the person gonna become ill or not. We can do that with 1 drop of plasma. So it is not for infection diseases, it is only for non-communicable diseases, but heart failure, myocardial infarction, stroke, cancer, we can pre-diagnose with just 1 drop. Well, the machine is huge, you saw. So now the engineers are working to shrink it down, and I'm very proud advisory board member of that Nobel-winning institute. But people think about that to make something good, to make something nice, and I think that is our future of medicine, that we will be just healthy, and health will be contagious. And also because we are at the university and we have some young people, I want to tell you some nice things that how to have more fulfilled professional life at least. Change fields. Don't stick with one. Remember Lord Kelvin? Don't stick with one. Learn new things every day. And if I say learn new things, I don't mean from a series of TV. I mean real things, real books, real people, real lab. I was amazed to see the infrastructure here at your university. Go in the neighbor lab and see what they are doing there. Surround yourself with critics. Don't surround with people that say, oh my God, you are a genius. Well, it's nice to hear, but go home and ask there to say that. I'm very happy that in my home they say, although it's not true. But find critics that can discuss with you, that can oppose you in an intellectual level, that you can actually develop. Otherwise, it's not going to help. Be as much as you can with the younger generation, because as longer we are in a field, as more we see the borders, and as young our people are, as easier they are breaking barriers. So break as much barriers as you can. Dream big, and if I say dream big, I mean imagine something very big like, I don't know, you have the warp motor, and you invented the warp motor, and go 10 times beyond, and set that as your point of horizon, because otherwise small things doesn't help. And ask for advice, and don't listen it if you feel in your gut this advice is not good. But ask for advice, because it's always nice to know what others think. Don't be too busy. I mean, don't say I'm in stress, because your organism, as a medical doctor, I know your organism is listening to you. And if you say I'm very busy, the organism thinks you are truly busy, even if you do nothing. And if you say I'm happy, your organism thinks you are happy, even you may be very upset. So don't be too busy, try to have fun. If you don't have fun, do this, go to a mirror and do that 5 minutes. What is happening in the reality is your brain is remembering the position of happiness and starting to produce, because thinking that I'm late. So, and then you become happy. So have fun and be humble as much as you can. Well, I try, it's not always working, but be humble as much as you can. And as I said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagine. And kindness is the highest form of intelligence. And this is my first love, although my husband is a little bit jealous of him, but this is truly my first love. If you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer the questions. Scan the code, send us questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Karine Sargsyan. I think you do deserve a great round of applause for merging the scientific excellence and the human touch. Now we have a very unique opportunity to engage directly with Professor Sargsyan. And we are able to ask questions here from the floor and also online through the Slido tool. But I think it will not be rude if I gave priority to the people in the room first. So please, you're very welcome to raise your hand, and then the microphone will come to you, and you can ask your question, or you can comment on anything you would like to.
Or you can disagree. Okay.
Thank you. So I have a question regarding the molecular fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
As I understood it correctly, this fingerprint allows to predict some diseases that can happen in the future for a person. So I had an idea that the first thing that should be implemented before this, maybe it's a dream, but you told us to dream, is universal healthcare insurance in the United States. Because I imagine the insurance companies would be asking for such a fingerprint before insuring. What do you think about this?
I think that, well, insurance system is very different in different countries, and although it became much better last 10 years in United States, it is not the best there. And to my knowledge, the best insurance system I have ever seen in my life is Austria. Investigate. The Austrian insurance system is great. It covers everything for everyone. They, in health insurance, they're generated communism and they don't know about. So, being honest, I think that I would not speak about who is getting the money, because if the insurance would ask that scan, they would then think about the money. I think we need to think how many people we can help with that. It is true possibility to help people to not become a patient, and being a patient, trust me, is not fun. So I'm a doctor, and I would lose my job most probably if there will be no patients. But I would go for that path without thinking of that scan, if it is needed or not needed for insurance. Well, if the insurance will ask, it is better to provide the insurance with that scan, helping them to invest in those areas of your health that you needed to not become a patient. It is a win-win situation even for insurance, because they would not cover the costs of a hospital, of an operation, of something else, but they would cover just the prevention, which is always cheaper, always.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. We keep the gentleman in the queue here for another question. Yes, you wanted to ask a question. So I will now go with one question from our Slido poll, and then we will come back to you. So there is a question from our guest online. These are all very advanced technologies and tools, most for the richest. How can innovation work for the poor? See the COVID vaccination gap.
Well, I don't think that the COVID vaccination gap is emerged from poor and not poor. It even more emerged from the misinformation. And I actually, during the COVID, I even spoke for Digital Davos, telling that why Americans doesn't want to be vaccinated, although it is free and they have the best vaccines possible. The advanced technologies are for everyone. And being honest, 1 terabyte space for medical data 3 years ago would cost 30 times more as it costs now. So the whole technology we have is becoming cheaper and cheaper as it is evolving. So I think that the book I showed was the digitalization of medicine in low and middle income countries, and we have been able to calculate how much cost we would be able to reduce just by investing only 10% of the money in the digitalization of the healthcare. So it's for, the development is for everybody. It's like, you know, in the Stone Age, we have had the fire. And the fire was for everybody very scary. Everybody would run from fire, but it kept people warm. And then we learned to cook on it. And if we would not domesticate fire, we would not be here and we would not speak about those technologies. So imagine that is our fire now. And domesticate that independently for whom?
Thank you very much. And then we move to the next question from the floor.
You've said that hospitals wouldn't be needed if we would prevent most sickness. And you said that if this plasma would see that if somebody who smokes that this cancer or something, and as a smoker myself, it's hard for me to believe that if somebody told me that, okay, if I am smoking, I will die soon because probably it will happen if I will keep that. And there are many things that prevent smoking, some campaigns, some texts on the packs and some things, but how would it prevent, how would this technology prevent curing the cancer itself if there's no hospitals to cure them?
Oh, cancer will not appear at all because there will be the very first 1, 2, 3 mutated cells that we will see and remove, like before even stage 1 cancer. The idea is that people not become patient at all. Not that cancer appears, but that we know that there is a direction of cancer, there is a malignation process with only few cells. And then we would actually take it away. But being honest, we are in the technical university. You should be very good with numbers. Look at the statistics of smokers and non-smokers for lung cancer.
I know. But where this removing these cells happen if there are no hospitals? It is a medical procedure, isn't it?
Well, we have now hospitals that have around 80% of the capabilities for therapeutic parts and around 20-25% for surgical parts. I think that we will still need some of those surgical parts, but the therapeutic parts where people are lying for many days, getting like chemotherapy and so on, if you prevented the disease, you don't need to have that.
Okay, thank you.
And before that happens, we recommend giving up smoking.
Very much, very much.
I am trying to.
We are keeping our fingers crossed. Thank you very much for your question. Another question from an online participant. Do you see climate change as a major risk for humanity's future, including its link to more global health issues? What about the AI's carbon footprint?
Yes and yes. The short answer?
Probably short.
The long answer, I think that the carbon footprint of AI is actually becoming better and better, and it's actually much better than carbon footprint of all other transportations that we have ever had till now, like cars, like planes and so on. But if we are speaking about global warming, I don't think that we need to think about to use the bicycle or an electric car instead of using a benzene engine. I think we need to think about something different, like the biggest carbon footprint that we have on planet Earth are wars. In one day of war, we are generating more CO2 and CO as the whole Tokyo and surrounding together, or the whole Austria. It is one day of war in Ukraine. So we need to think about more global possibilities to solve the problem and not about the concrete AI carbon footprint, because AI is using electricity mostly.
Yes, so keeping an eye on the proportions is very important, not to overshadow one thing by another thing. Thank you. Anybody from the floor?
Yes, hi. My name's Thomas, and I just wanted to say that it's really wonderful to have you here in Białystok. It's a huge privilege for us, I guess. What I wanted to ask is, do you see those big pharma companies jumping on a train as well in this process of predicting and preventing? Because as far as I can imagine, like the process of curing and not the result of curing is their core business. So I'm just wondering if they are or may be helpful in any kind of way, or just the opposite?
I think we need to find a win-win situation. Can you remember, that's why I didn't want it to go so in detail with pharma companies, but I showed the science diplomacy aspect of the medicine of the future. And that is a huge part, and I absolutely agree that the pharmaceutical interests are very big. But if we find a solution that is for everybody, we can, I mean, those pharmaceutical companies are also people. And those people have also health. And they also need to live. So I think we need to find the right way of giving them also the opportunity to survive. And I can bring an example from another business, like the cigarettes. We got the question. The very Philip Morris, last 10 years, is building all the new businesses out of the cigarette business. So the investments that Philip Morris is doing, and this is not an advertisement, it is just, I read a little ago, that they are investing in health, in medicine, they are investing in food, they are investing even in printing, or in new books and so on, and they don't invest in the cigarette business. They are building a new part of business. So I think there will be a difficult transformation, yes, but I really believe that that transformation is possible for a better future for everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Well, another big one from an online participant. What are the reasons that some of the advanced technologies that you mentioned and that are already available are not in use in medicine yet?
Well, that question I was asking myself several times, being honest, and again, we have the innovation that through the new technology is very fast and like really big explosion. And we have then policy and implementation that is very slow and coming like a train from last century or pre-last century, from 19th century. So we have a very big dissonance between the policy making and implementation of the newest technology and the innovation that exists. But being honest, I think we are making very good progress, specifically with Horizon Europe. We have in each project at the moment the idea of how to implement that. The new governmental funds in almost all European countries are asking for where you would implement that and which company is going to use your innovation before giving some money to the research. So I think we understood that at least in Europe, and I am very optimistic that we will go there.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor?
Yes, thank you. I would like to ask you a question regarding your 2050 vision and its goals. So I think that we all can agree that the science policy will play a significant role in achieving these goals. And my question is, do you believe that it is possible to simplify that science policy structure by the 2050 to make those goals a reality? Do you think that those 25 years are enough to do so?
That is such a bad question. Oh my God, I don't want to lie to you, darling. So, you know, my daughter is 23 and she would not allow me to lie. She would then write down under the video that my mother doesn't think so. So I need to tell you the truth. I think that if we keep going like the systems how we have, that's going to be very difficult to do it by 2050. But if we keep understanding and changing our minds towards that, and I see that progress, if the progress is becoming bigger and bigger, we are able, I think everything is possible. We can do it, and that's why I'm very happy to give some lectures, several from the UN General Assembly to here, to promote that idea of changing the mindset? Well, it's going to be difficult, but I believe that it is possible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I must apologize in advance to our online participants and also participants here in the room, because I don't think we will be able to address all the questions.
Oh my God, there's so many.
We will continue for some minutes until our master of ceremony tells us to close. So here is a good one from an online participant. Mm-hmm. How do you see technology helping to address the rising demand for mental health services?
Well, mental health is an issue of very disadvantaged part of medicine. The neurosciences, the cancer, the traumatology and surgery are always in the first. Then we speak usually about pediatrics, like we care. And then we speak about the longevity and geriatrics because we care, and we always forget our souls. And for a very long time, mental health was so stigmatized that nobody wanted to work in mental clinics and help people. And unfortunately, in many countries, it's still stigmatized. There are other countries, and I don't want to name any country, where it became a business. Everybody, instead of speaking to friends, is speaking to a psychiatrist. So in the middle somewhere, there is the truth. I think that we have more to do in mental health aspects of our medicine than in cancer, than in any other medical aspects. This is the most human part of medicine, where true human mind and human soul is needed to solve the problems. And I'm very sorry that I am not more optimistic, but we are doing our best.
Yeah, let me just add that I remember at least one virtual reality solution developed by our students here at BUT that helped treat phobias.
Oh my God.
So there are actually technological advancements that could help, and I'm sure there are so many more that we could think of in terms of mental health. So let me now move to our audience and hear another question.
So I have a question for you. Do you think that with the technology progressing, there could be some kind of increasement in problem of trust of people with the new innovations, and how we as a society could help to prevent them from increasing, and also the developers, how could they help to minimize the problem with the trust in medicine, while from the start of COVID, our doubtment for the medicine started to increasingly, there started to be increasing downfall to the trust of people in medicine.
Well, if the medicine, and specifically in COVID, if the medicine would not work in such an amazing way, we would not sit here and speak together. So independently, what is a single person's feeling and doubt and declined trust, that big problem that we have had as a humanity, the COVID, in comparison to the last pandemic that we managed perfectly. So because we mostly looking at that from the insider perspective, we have our doubts, we have our ideas, we have our, we are very informed in comparison to all other generations that lived on this earth. I mean, the amount of the information that one person is getting per day is increased 500 times in comparison to 10 years ago, just because of the roles of on TikTok or on Instagram. I think if you look at your thumbs, how good you use them, you will regain the trust in medicine. So the medical development was always questioned. Chemotherapy was questioned so long because it is making people even more ill, and then it is healing. So surgery was doubted because you are cutting into people. But nowadays, without chemotherapy and without surgery, we would not have what we have. So doubting is always not bad. I ask to have always critics around you. So critics are good, but I would not take that very personal and very serious, because criticism is giving the Society of Medical Investigators even more confidence that we need to do better to show that the development of medicine is going in the right direction. I mean, that's normal development. Did I answer your question?
Sorry?
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you got a good mark from my student. So. Let me, I think, ask the last question of today's session, and that will be an online question that was already asked almost at the very beginning of the session. So I think it is quite relevant, because you mentioned wars a few times during this lecture, and Wojtek asks, what is your take on the role of military in the progress in medicine? And the context is that on one hand we have humanity as a value, but on the other hand we have military competition as a driving force of technological and scientific progress. So let's hear from you on this topic.
Well, I'm a dreamer. I trust in the good in people, and I trust that one day the borders, the conventions, the nationalities, the interests, especially financial interests, will not cause any war ever. I truly trust that one day the humanity will learn from our history and understand that we need to live in freedom all together and work together and understand each other. I hope that the technological development is going to help that, because, I mean, we are communicating across the borders from all over the world. So one day, yesterday I diagnosed a person who is in Morocco on my screen. So when we are losing the borders of treating people and so on, we can also lose borders in the common sense. So I think military medicine is very advanced. I think specifically military toxicology and traumatology and surgery is incredibly advanced, and we can use that very much in normal life too. But I don't think that we will need it in 50 years. We will not need the military medicine because we will not have the need to treat specific military problems.
I don't think there is a better way to conclude our lecture today with this note of hope for a peaceful and harmonious future. So let us once again thank our speaker today, Professor Karine Sargsyan. I think Professor will be available for a few minutes to anybody who would like to approach her and have a short chat. But unfortunately, our broadcast time has passed, and we need to officially conclude our event, although there have been, I think, about 6 or 7 questions online also not addressed due to the time constraints. So this is also the evidence of the quality of your talk and the thought-provokedness of your lecture. So thank you once again, Professor Karine Sargsyan, and thank you to everyone for coming and for actively attending this lecture. Thank you.